Hey guys, it's churches, graveyards and graves. For part 2, we are at St Cuthberts in Doveridge. So the first part was inside the church where we saw that lovely memorial of the Davenports. So here we are outside the church, and it dates from the 13th century. It's a grade 1 listed building, and there's a couple of things here that are really interesting. So we're going to start with this wonderful medieval cross. So here we go. So with medieval crosses, when the Reformation came, the actual cross was destroyed, and that's when we start to get the actual graves, because before that they would have just been buried in holy ground. So I'm going to let you have a look at the church. So you can see that the tower and the chancel is the oldest section, and then you've got this wonderful priest door. But I'm pretty sure that these are the original penitent steps. So these are lovely steps, and then you would have had the medieval cross on top. But of course this is not the medieval cross. This is a replacement, and you can see a date on there, 1914 to 1918. So this is a World War I memorial. But I'm pretty sure that the steps are original. So this is absolutely fantastic. And if you look at the church itself, you can certainly see that it's in the old English decorated style. You can see those wonderful windows there, and the fantastic tower, and this amazing priest door as well. But as I turn it round, I want to show you this, because this is a yew tree. Now I'm going to go a bit closer, and I'm going to have to go through into the tree, and it's probably one of the oldest yew trees I've ever seen in a graveyard. So look at that beauty. Now yew trees are in a lot of medieval graveyards, mostly because they predate Christianity. So assumably, and this one is actually being propped up, look, you can see that. I'm going to get a real close up here. So and they generally were put down on pagan sites, and then over the years, of course, you know, the church came and replaced the pagan sites. But look, you can see this wonderful ancient yew tree is literally being chained up, and from my knowledge of it, it's 1,300 years old, and now of course it is having to use props to stay up. So it's not surprising that this yew tree is on the site of a church, because when Christianity came, it generally took the places where pagans were originally worshipping. So you can pretty much guarantee that this place right here in Doveridge was a place of worship long before the church was even built in the 13th century. And this is an absolute stunner. Now legend states that Robin Hood and Maid Marian got married here. Now I don't know whether that's true, but you know what, it's a wonderful story. So if you see a yew tree in a graveyard, you will have some awareness that this has been a site of some sort of worship, even though it would have been sort of druidic worship, even before the church was built. Well, what a beauty this is. So I'm just going to move down a little bit, and right amongst this wonderful ancient yew tree from 1300 years ago is a really interesting grave. So I'm going to come round here and show it you. So look at this. Oh, what a stunner. Now I am not sure I've really seen one of these sort of graves, the vampire graves in England. I've seen quite a few in Austria. And this is to Francis Oakley and Margaret, his wife, and it's from the year 1749. So it's an 18th century grave, and it's still using the mortality symbols. And isn't this fantastic? So you've got this wonderful skull and this wreath, and then these wonderful bat wing type things. And then on this side we have Father Time. And look at how elaborate the sculptural work is on this fantastic grave. Now, they generally went away from this because it is quite gruesome. And then we start to get the wonderful cherubim and the little soul effigies, which look like little cutesy angels. So the trend changed, but originally this was the trend. So this is still a soul effigy, but in a completely and utterly different style. This is a mortality soul effigy. And here we have this fantastic skull showing the death of the soul, and it flying up to heaven on these like death wings. And here we have Father Time, and I can pretty much tell it's that because Father Time is always depicted as sort of an old man figure, sometimes with a scythe. But that is an absolute stunning grave from right here in Doveridge. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing this wonderful church. It's got those wonderful penitent steps, and they've now used it for a war memorial. But you've got this fabulous yew tree, probably, well, certainly the oldest one I've ever seen, an ancient yew tree, over 1,000 years old, denoting that this was probably a site of worship way predating even this wonderful church, which is from the 12th century. It's way earlier than that. So it would have been even sort of around the time that the Romans were here, and even maybe slightly before that. And to think that Robin Hood and Maid Marian may have got married there as well. And to see that wonderful grave with that fantastic skull, and to know how they changed from that skull into that little cherub thing when they decided that the skulls were looking a bit that's what they thought. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this fabulous video from here in Doveridge. And yeah, if you like my videos, if you get something out of them, you know, go and explore your local churchyards. They've always got something to show you. And but if you like and share my videos, that'd be fantastic. And I'm also on Buy Me a Coffee. So from right here in, I was going to say I was in South Derbyshire, but I might not be actually. I might be in Staffordshire. Not find out about that. But anyway, from right here in Doveridge at St Cuthberts. See you again soon. Bye guys.